Good morning everyone. Welcome to the mobile applications lecture series. We are in the second module and we have started developing Android applications. Before getting started today, we shall see what happened in the last class. So last class was very interesting because we developed our first Android application and which was we were able to see it on our mobile. So in today's class what we are going to learn is we are going to see the details of the first application, which all the files are very important, what exactly it is meant to, the folders and every aspect of our Android application. Next we shall see develop a small simple calculator which is of in nature of a very small application of this design. Two numbers where we are going to give the input and we say add and the result is shown here. So the number 1, number 2, add and the result. So this is our Calci application. This is our today's task. So our main intention is to develop a simple calculator. So before we getting started, so let's look into the application with respect to the file systems, how the file systems are arranged, what it meant, what all each files are meant for. So the first file which we looked into it was a manifest file. So I'll give you the structure where exactly these files are. If you have looked into our application, we have a file system of the here. You can observe it. We have a file system which is very much displayable. So we have a manifest, we have a Java file and we have a resource file and a Gradle. These are very important file structures which we have to go through. The manifest file, Java file, resource file and Gradle file. So individually we shall look into it what exactly these files are meant for. So the first we have looking into is the Java file, so the manifest file. As we discussed, the manifest files are the one which includes all your components. Say example, it could be an activity, it could be a service provider details, it could be the resource, it could be a broadcast receiver. All these information, the metadata of complete application will be saved in your manifest file. If I have to tell you, the simple example is we have developed a simple application of a single window hello world application and each had only one activity, which means it had only one screen. So that screen name was main activity. So that particular application, first that is a screen which needs to be launched. So that information is also maintained in our manifest file. If you are looking into it, we have mentioning this is the first screen which needs to be launched. So the main activity is your first activity which should be launched. That we are mentioning it main.activity. This is an activity which has to be launched. So this is a launcher file. So even this information is meant. So all your metadata, all activities, everything is maintained in your manifest file. This is the main importance of your manifest file. The next one, the Java file. We have XML file and a Java file. So what is meant for Java file? So our XML file is meant to design your UI, where what all things comes. But the backend task, the processing, the drawing and everything is taken care by the Java file, which is meant to draw all your resources on the screen, perform logical operations and the backend operations. All the important file is our Java file. You can write your code either in Java or Kotlin. But do remember, since we have learned Java, we are expertised in Java, we have done few projects and we are comfortable, we'll be using Java. So the Java file, it has got many imports which have removed, which have now chopped it off. So this Java file consists of all your coding part, where it is going to perform the backend task, which is not visible for us. If you click a button, what action has to be performed, that code is written in our Java file, which we call it as a backend file. So it has got some imports, and our main activity, the first activity which we have created is a main activity class. It is also completely object oriented, which has been extended, which has been taken from app compat activity. The next few buttons, we have all our data members of this class have been mentioned here, and the first function to be called is onCreate. This is a function which needs to be called at the beginning of your, whenever you say click any application, when you click on it, which is the first function which is getting called, that is onCreate function. In this onCreate function, we can specify which file, which activity should be loaded first. Consider if you have many screens, 10 screens. So you want to load the first screen to be. So that screen we can specify it in our set content view or.layout, that layout name. Activity, here we have mentioned activity main. So these two lines are very important lines. By default it will be there in all the application, and this is a function which gets loaded. Apart from that, we have written another onClick listener event or onClick listener event function we have written, wherein on clicking a button, what should be happening it. So all your performance, all your functionality will be written in your Java file. So this is the main for Java file. The next file, the XML file, the layout XML file, which we have seen. So consider we had a text view, we have a button. So all your UI related items are kept in our XML file. Why do we choose XML? This is a very simple reason. XML is meant to many aspects. It has got huge advantages. It doesn't have specific syntax to be followed. It doesn't have any specific syntax to be followed. It can make use of, it can store the data, it can be used for designing the UI, and it is understandable by all the platforms. It can be used for your Windows application, it can be used for web application, it can be used for mobile applications. Irrespective of the platform, irrespective of the language, any language can understand your XML. So that is the main purpose why most of our languages nowadays are better written in our XML file. So this is the main advantage of our XML file. Next, so going with that, what exactly the next file to be seen is the drawable folder. So I'll show you where exactly you can find our drawable folder. Why it is important? So this is part of our resource. All our resource related XML, drawable, string, color, styles, all these things part of our resource file. So consider your application is making use of many images or any video content or any color related items, the themes, all the icons, everything will be stored in our resource file. So even if you upload your images for drawing your application to bring out those images, all those will be stored in our resource file. So in that resource file, we have a drawable, layout, MIPApp and values. So drawable is the one where the drawable are the contents, what exactly it looks, what exactly it is having is, it is the folder which makes you keep all your images and whatever the resources related to your application, all those things are stored in our drawable folder. The next one is MIPApp file. So MIPApp file is with respect to the what exactly it is meant for the MIPApp files are. Consider you want some particular icon. What is the Android icon looks like? How exactly it looks like? It is something like this and something like this it looks like, right? The Android icon. And in your application also you might be using small icons, the button icons, the icon, all those small MIP app icons in the PNG format will be stored in our MIP app files in the resource folder only. The next one was the colors. Colors of your applications are well designed and kept in a separate file called as in a XML file, which is a colors.xml file. String file, which is the only string which we used in last application. It was the first Android app. First Android app was the string which we used to display it on our screen. On top of it you could have observed it. So that strings, all the strings used in applications are better maintained in a single file called string.xml. The another one is styles, very important. The theme, you want a black theme. I am using a Dracula theme for my Android Studio. Likewise, even your mobiles has themes. So which theme you want to make use of it? Those themes are specified in our styles file. You can have you can create your own styles and you can embed it. You can make it work. And the last one is the build.gradle. So this is also a file which we have observed it. The main purpose is to compile and integrate all your components. It has to bring up your XML file, Java file, resource file, your libraries, your XML, your strings, colors, styles, resources, everything it has to integrate, and it has to give you only one file called as .apk file. The package, Android package, it gives you the Android package which is ready to install. It combines everything. This package will have the dex file, dex file. This dex file will have your byte code. So your APK is an installable file. Once you install, it will install it in the form of a dex file. So dex file, you can always, it is the one which is in the byte code. So the dex file, when you click on the dex file, the one you click on the icon, that is, it is trying to execute the dex file. So the dex file will be executed. So this is complete. So the build, when you build, you want an installable file. The Gradle file completes, or it makes sure that you get an APK file, and it looks into the versions also. Very important. Over the period of time when you are developing a big application, you need to give more number of versions. So you have to maintain proper versions, and you have to see which are all your related libraries which you have to link. All those things are taken care of, with respect to versions also. You are targeting a particular Android, Pi, Oreo or any version, so which all libraries, all those things are mentioned. This is a very important file. Many times for the students, you get locked with the Gradle file many times. And do remember, whenever you are developing your Android application, try to be connected to the internet. That's very important. So many times there will be miss file matching, so which can be always downloaded and corrected. So do remember to make sure that your Gradle file is corruptless. Do not alter the Gradle file. Okay. So the next one, what we are trying to do today is, with this, we have covered all the file systems which we have come across in our Android application. Now what we are going to do here is, we are going to develop a simple calculator, very similar to this. So this simple calculator, what exactly we are trying to do? Say, what exactly we want to create an activity. Then we have to use a edit text box, which we call it as, this is nothing but our edit text box. So we have 2 edit text boxes and 3 text views. So you want to show the result in the text view or edit box, it is up to you. So let's display it in the form of text view again. Then we have a button. So overall, what we are planning here is, we are developing a simple calculator. First we will do that, then we will improve the calculator so that. So we have 2 text boxes, edit box, 3, 4 text views and a button. So when I give input as 5 and 3, the output should come here as 8. This is our aspect. So for this you need to be well versed with your Java. So you need to have basic knowledge of Java, which you already have it. Do remember, one important hint which I want to give for this application is, so whenever you give the input, it will always be in the form of a string. You give a 8 or 5 or 3, always it will be in the form of a string. You have to convert these strings into numerals. This is a very important one. Whenever you have to convert this, the string should be converted into integers. For calculator is meant for integers, not for strings. So you have to take care, you have to make sure that your strings are converted into integers. So whenever you give 5 and 3, first we are going to convert this into integers, then we are going to add 5 plus 3, and then we are going to display the thing. So overall task is, what all things we have to do in this project? First we have to create an activity. We have to drag and drop all these edit boxes, text views and buttons. On clicking a button, on set click listener we have to write it. In that on click listener event, what you are supposed to do? You have to convert your your strings to your integers. You have to convert your strings to integers. Then you have to add. Once it is added, again it will be in the integer form. Again you have to convert integer to string, and then you have to display it. So all these tasks we need to do it inside the function. So Java, it's the same thing. Java doesn't give you whatever it reads in a buffer, it will be in the form of a string. So we have to convert strings to integers. This is a very important part. Along with it, I'll give you some information when we are coding the code. Let's get started. So since we have already created a few of the applications, I'm going to make use of the same application which we did it in the last class, wherein we had designed, okay, we have our mobile is also ready. Let me improve the design part of this with the 2 edit boxes. Already it consists of one text view whose attribute I am going to change it to, it is showing hello world. I am going to clear it. I don't want to be displayed anything. Next, we want some edit boxes. So which is nothing but our text boxes. Yes, do remember, if we don't do the constraint setting, what happens? It will go and sit at the top left corner. So it is good we do a constraint setting, so the number, and I don't want to be displayed anything inside that, so I'll keep it null, nothing. So another text box we need. Null, again these constraints has to be set. So we are done with our constraints. Okay, all the constraints are ready. And you want any text boy, another text view here, you can have it, another text view as num1, num1, num2. So I'm not going to use that. I'm going to rename this to add. Okay. So it has been renamed as add button. So we are done with our view. So let's just check whether how exactly the view is coming up in our Android phone. It's getting built. For the first time it will take more time till it gets built. Once it is built, it will be displayed on our UI. So build is getting ready. You can observe what is the status. It is still the build is getting ready. Mine is a 4 GB, that's the reason it is taking more time. So Gradle build has finished and it is getting installed. So you can see that. I'm going to open it. Application, okay, things are fine. So I can give numbers. So I'm not coded it. So I'm not gonna do anything. Let me start coding now. So on clicking that button, whatever is supposed to do, on clicking this button, a function has to be written. That function we have already written. So set on click listener. I knew we have done all these things, but this code we have to change it. We are not going to change any text. Rather, what we'll be doing is we have to add two numbers, for which what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to one text view, only one button, two edit boxes we have. So I'm going to do edit text number 1, edit text number 2. So it is giving some error. It is telling it is in red, means it is in error. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to say, when you double click on the select this complete string, whenever you get error, press alt enter. Alt enter. So it will say, it will ask you import the class. Say import the class. So if you observe it, this edit text class have been imported for automatically. So this is common for all. Whichever classes you use, you need to import those libraries. So this is a Java file. Those things very easily you can import. You don't need to remember which is the namespace, which is your package to be imported. So automatically it will give you the error. You press alt enter, it will import. Okay, this is a very important task which you have to remember. And why are we doing this? This is very important. Why do we need this edit text and all those things? I'll give you I'll write and then I'll give you the example. Okay. So number 1, first we have to bring it, we have something called as find view by ID, edit text, find view by ID, r.id. Edit text 1, same code can be copied, or else I'll type it, n2 is equal to edit text, find view by ID, then r dot id dot edit text. So with this, so this is a very important part, what I want to bring it up here. So why do we need this find view by ID? We have to create. So important part of our coding is, it so happens that we have two files. One is our Java file, another is our okay. Why do we need find view by ID? Why we have to create all those class? Edit. First we created a class and objects. If you remember, button, btn, text view, text, edit text, number 1, number 2. So why do we need this? So we have two files. One is XML file, another is Java file. Both are different. Both doesn't talk. They are not good. They are not good friends. They don't know each other actually. So every time we have to bring them together. So you have a button here with a Java code. You have a edit text with Java XML code, complete XML code, and you have a Java code here. They don't know, Java doesn't know about all these widgets or views, button, what is ID, what exactly its properties, it doesn't know. If you want to access all its properties, the color, the text, the font, the size, the width, all these things we call it as a properties of a widget. Widget is nothing but button is a widget, edit text box is a widget, text view is a widget, or we can call it as a view. All these views, it doesn't have, all views have the properties. These properties, if you want to access it, you need to know what exactly its IDs are. What exactly its IDs are? IDs are nothing but the number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Every widget will have a resource ID, which is numerical. So what we are finding is, we need to find these numerical IDs in Java to access those properties. If you want to change the color or the font or the text, then first you have to access the XML file for getting the IDs. Once you get your IDs into your Java file, then you can alter it. So for this purpose, we use find view by ID. When we do a find view by ID, it will go, all these IDs are stored in resource file, R file. So R file will have the IDs of your Java file, and then these IDs are given to your Java file. So all these IDs are stored in your resource file, and these IDs are nothing but your buttons, or every widget will have an ID. Those IDs are stored in the resource r.file, and these IDs we are finding it using find view by ID. Once we find those IDs, so button ID we get it, we can alter it. So if you are coding it in Java, first you have to get the IDs of all your widgets. So that is the purpose. What do? We do create objects. We create objects for edit text, button, text view. We create objects. Using that objects, we are going to use the IDs and we are going to link. So Java edit text is linked to XML edit text. Java button is linked to XML button. Java text view is linked to XML text view using find view by ID. So that is the purpose we use find view by ID. Once we have the access, then we can easily access the properties of the XML, and we can convert, you can make it draw, or all the alterations can be performed. So that is the reason we said Java is different, XML is different. You need to bring them together using the find view by ID. So the edit text, which is edit text button, which are there in XML are different from Java edit text, text view and buttons. So we need to link them using find view by ID. So this is the main task. This is the main purpose. So that is the reason button we created an object in a Java. This is a Java button and we have button in our XML. This button is different from Java button. So text view, Java text view is different from Android XML text view. Java edit text is different from XML edit text. So how do we link both? So how do we link? We link both using find view by ID. This is the button of Java and we are making sure that we are accessing the resource ID button. So this is button is of XML. If you are observing it, this is XML. We are finding the R resource ID button from XML and we are linking, giving that ID 1, 2, 3. This is Java. So we are linking both the objects using similar so that both are pointing to the same resource. Both your XML and Java both are pointing to your same resource. This is the main purpose. So all the widgets, whichever widgets you use it in XML, all those things IDs has to be processed here. So if you forget to do find view by ID, your application will crash. All of a sudden it gets loaded and it crashes. The time you say onset collision or you're trying to access this button, if it doesn't have the reference, actually it doesn't have the reference here. When you created all these four, it is a null objects. It doesn't have any references by default. So when you link it, it will give you the reference, which is nothing but the address. It will give you the address of the button to this. So when you create here button, it is a null. All those are null. So when you say find view by ID, it will be loaded with X HF120 address, X HD161, X ABCF10. Addresses are loaded so that it has something to work. If it is null, then do remember your program is going to crash. This is the purpose. The next we'll do. So we are done with, we have how many widgets we had? We had 4 widgets, 1 button, 1 text view and 2 edit text. We are done with that. Now for the button, on clicking that button, what all the tasks we have to do? So do remember, we have said whatever you enter in an edit text is a string. We have to convert the strings into numerals. How do we do that? So where do we have to store the conversion? We have to store it in our, we have to create a temporary variables called as int num1 comma num2. So num1 will say is equal to integer dot parse. This is where the conversion happens. So what exactly? n1 dot toString. So with this we are converted. So what right now happened was, so I have created a temporary variable. I have already linked XML to Java. So this is having some number, the reference numbers to those IDs and all the properties we can access. One of the property we are accessing is a toString, the text part out of it. So n1.toString is nothing but if you have entered 5, that will be in the form of 5. So we are converting this 5 to the integer using integer is a class. So we are making use of static class dot parseInt is a function. Using that function, it is going to convert your string to integer. Then it will become 5. So string is converted into integer. Next, same thing you have to do it with your another variable. I am creating local variables. These two are local variables. Integer dot parse int n2 dot toString. Okay. We are done. So now we have 5 and 3 ready. Integers are ready. Now we have to add it. Let's add one more variable, int num3 is equal to num1 plus num2. Okay. Once this is done, what do? We have to, now it is 8. Now num3 is having 8. So it is in integer. Now we have to convert again, we have to display it on our screen here, 8. So we have to convert integer to string. Now we have to convert integer to string. So what is the code to convert integer to string? So where we have to set? We have to set it into which text view? This text view. In Java we have to set, and then we have to set it into our XML. From Java to XML now, it's a reverse part. So text dot set. Text, yeah, which one? So the XML one. XML one is text dot set text. We have to give num3 dot toString. 1 second. Integer dot toString, sorry. So integer dot toString, which we have to give num3. So what happens now? We are done with it. What happens is num3 is an integer. So that integer we are converting it into the toString. We are converting the toString. ToString we are setting it into the text dot set text. This is our which text? It is nothing but our XML text. Its reference is XML text is reference is maintained in our Java. So this is our integer. Integers text part, converted text part. So integers text part is converted using toString. ToString, integer dot toString will give you the integers to toString. Output of integer dot toString will be the string part. It will give you, if you give 5, it will give you string 5. That string 5 we are setting it onto our text view using text dot set text. Now the code is ready. It is gonna build. Let's execute it. So we are done with our coding part. Let's see whether if we give it works fine or not. So Gradle is building. So application is ready. Let's give the input. I'm gonna give 5. I'm gonna give 3. So 5 and 3 I have given. So I'm done with it. Now if I click add, this function will be called. It will be the strings of 5 and 3 will be converted into integer. Then integers will be added, and then again that added integer num3 is converted into string, and string is given to text view. So on clicking this, what is the output? It crashed. Okay. Anyway, it's giving error. I'm gonna wind up this today's class now. So later I'll come back with why it is going problem. Thank you all.